What's going on today, everybody? So today, what we're going to be doing is going over the different types of loops that you can do using the Go programming language. So what I have set up here so far is just a simple slice of strings with our favorite programming languages, and we will be iterating through them and just printing them out to our console. So also, what I did here is I found this script online that basically allows us to clear our console screen every time we run this program. So that way we don't have to keep typing in clear before to differentiate each output from the previous one. And then I also added this starting loops to show us when we begin. And I should actually add one here to tell us that we are now ending the loop. Ending loops. Okay. All right. So the first one, and one that's probably the most familiar to a lot of you, especially if you come from a traditional programming language like Java or C++ or C or whatever, is this one, where you instantiate a variable to I. You set your condition. In our case, it's going to be the length of languages. And then you increment the variable that you instantiated. And now I'm just going to print out these variables so we can see exactly what's going on. And then to access this, we will be doing this, where we're printing I, which is just the index here, and then we're getting the value at that specific index in the array. So this should all be pretty familiar. So let's go ahead and run this to show you guys that it works. And there we go. That's what we see. And I want to add this down here now. Okay. So basically what we're going to be doing is this exact same thing, but in different ways. So that's the first way, the traditional way, and the most familiar way. The next way will be, I want to add this here. Sorry if this gets kind of annoying with all these format print line statements, but it'll be useful, trust me. And then I'll copy this for later. Okay. The next way we can loop through this is by doing something that's a little bit weird. I actually haven't seen this besides in the documentation, but I think it's interesting. We're actually skipping the instantiation part of this traditional loop, this traditional for loop, and we're just giving in the condition. So J has to be less than length of languages, and then increment J again. And to prove to you guys that this works, we'll do format print line again. Oops. And what do we call it? J, and then language is at J. Now if we run this again, we'll see the two loops ran and we got the same exact output. So yeah, this is a bit weirder. Don't really see much of these out in the wild, but you can do that if that's your style. Next thing you want to do is move on to the next type of loop, which is way more common and makes way more sense. It's kind of like a for each, if you're familiar with that, where you get some sort of key and value out of a range or out of an array or something, and use that by using the range keyword and followed by whatever you want to range through. So if we look at this range keyword, it actually returns an index and the value. And that actually wants to be language, or you can call it L or whatever. And to show you what I'm talking about, we can print these things out like so. And this should just be format.Print. Okay. So yeah, if we do it this way, we're just doing a for each essentially, where we're getting each value, each language out of this. You get the deal. So if we run this again, we can see the third way is the exact same way, index followed by value. So this way is a lot more common, and I see this a lot. I also see people completely ignoring the index, which is totally fine and normal to do it. They actually showed this inside the documentation as well. But yeah, that's how people range through an array, and whenever they just want the value in there and don't really care much about the index. So if we run this, you can see that we just got the values there. So that's the three ways. The next way to loop through Go is actually using a while loop. Now, Go doesn't actually have a while keyword. The way that we do while loops is actually just another for loop. And before we do this, so we don't make it too confusing, I guess this is already getting a little confusing. Let's call it Gindex. And this is an int of 0. By the way, never mind. Okay, so this is how the while loop is done. You just give it you just give it some kind of condition. In our case, it's the length of languages. And that's it. Now we can do format print line, and we can do languages at Gindex, just to show you guys. Did I spell that wrong? Yeah. Okay, and then Gindex ++. All right, so this will do the exact same thing as the last one, where it just prints out the values, but this is a while loop. And then again, just to match the top ones, we can go up here and pass in Gindex if we want. And run this again. Make this a little bit bigger for you guys. And there we go. It still wasn't big enough. All right. These are all the different types of ways to loop. And as I said before, the most common way is using that range keyword. You'll see that a lot. And I would probably say the traditional way is the the second most common. And then you'll also see the while loops used a lot. And again, this is another way of just declaring or instantiating a variable like this. It's the exact same way. If you're new to Go, that way you don't have that way the type is inferred, and you don't have to instantiate it or use the var keyword. It's actually a lot more efficient to do it this way. But yeah, that's it. That's all the different types of ways that you can loop using or iterate through some sort of slice or array in the Go programming language. I'll also keep this handy little snippet in the details section below in the video in case you guys want to use that for your own custom programs. And like I said, it's super handy. That way you don't have to see, I even mistype clear sometimes, and you don't have to hit clear. You can just run your program and it'll do it by itself. And you can run that back and forth, and it will never pile up on each other unless you scroll up. But yeah, that is it for this video. Let me know if you liked it in the comment section below. Give it a like, subscribe, and any questions I'll try to answer. And let me know if you guys want to see anything else specifically to do with Go or Java or even Python. And yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one.